Hello everyone, Kireth here. Welcome to another Gran Turismo 7 video. And what is the single biggest feature that you want revealed for Gran Turismo 7? There's only a couple of weeks to go at the time of making this video, and there's still so much we don't know about the game. Online mode, are there going to be bigger grids? How's the dynamic weather going to work? So many questions we don't know. But if there's one feature that you want to be revealed, what is it? Well, I asked all my YouTube viewers and subscribers this question in a YouTube poll, and we got 1,800 responses, which is quite a few, and we got 174 comments. So I feel like I need to go through them all and let you know what I think, let you know what, in my opinion, are good suggestions, or maybe stuff I think has already been covered in certain trailers that you might not have seen already. So let's go through, let's have some fun, let's go through all these ideas, and maybe I'll roast a few that I don't think are that sensible. But maybe my suggestions weren't that sensible. These are the ones that I put to the vote, by the way. I said grids bigger than 20 cars, driver swaps, better engine sounds, more driving camera options, thinking about kind of removing the wheel from the dash view, more customization in terms of cockpit view, field of view, stuff like that, or something else. And grids bigger than 20 cars won it. And I do think, I feel the Daytona trailer we got recently had 16 cars in it. It's almost an insult to Daytona to have a race there with only 16 cars. It goes against everything that Daytona is about. So I would just love it if, you know, there's more cars in online mode. You know, ACC, you can have, what is it, more than 50 cars. I saw Jada do a race with 100 cars. iRacing, I regularly do races with 60 cars in them. So 20 cars just doesn't quite cut it in 2022. So we'll see. Will it be a PS5 exclusive mode in single player where you can add more AI cars? I don't know. Driver swaps, I really don't think this is going to happen. When I've been making Gran Turismo 7 videos on this channel for 2 years or something, I don't know. And ever since the beginning, I've been speaking about I really wanted driver swaps in GT7. It would be the most accessible form of team endurance racing out there. And team endurance racing is another level. If you're watching, you haven't tried it, honestly, when you're driving with a teammate, it adds another dimension. You're kind of looking after the car for them. You're supporting them mentally and psychologically, and they're longer races as well, so they kind of build to a climax of the race, and you've had all these storylines into winding strategy and whatnot, and it's just another level. And I don't think we're going to get that in GT7, which is a bit of a shame. Engine sounds, driving camera options, something else lower down the list. Right, let's get into the comments, shall we? What have people been saying? Danny, 200 mph. Smash that like button. I would love to see the daily race expand to 6 or 7, and those races based around single player campaign. Basic daily race expanded. I would love to have an extra daily race, maybe a daily race E for endurance. That's like an hour-long daily race that happens every 2 hours or something. I feel like that would be great, and I'd love a daily race T. That's a team endurance race, but I don't think it will happen. Obviously, you have this inherent contradiction. If you have too many daily races, then they don't get filled up. And in iRacing, there are so many races you can enter, but they're not quite as concentrated as, say, Daily Race C in Gran Turismo Sport, which is the flagship race that everyone's doing. And when you enter a Daily Race C, when I enter a Daily Race C on a Monday evening in the EU, I know that I'm going to be racing against some of the fastest drivers in the world, and it's a very cool feeling, because that is the place to be. So I actually don't agree expanding 6 or 7. Sorry, Danny, 200 mph, but I feel like maybe 4, maybe adding another endurance one would be pretty cool. Right, by the way, if you want to respond to these polls in the future, do make sure to subscribe to my channel. They'll come up in your list if you subscribe. So if you're watching this, enjoying my videos, if you've seen a few GT7, just smash that subscribe button, absolutely destroy it, and let me know how broken you made it. Foot down racing. I would love to see a more detailed force feedback section menu in game. 2 slides don't get. Yeah, the 2 sliders in GT Sport are a bit weird. I can't remember exactly what they're called, but like strength and detail perhaps, but it's kind of a bit of hieroglyphics to work out how to get it exactly how you want it. It's not that intuitive. Love the videos, Kireth. The music tracks you put over the top are top notch. Nice. Not sure what music I'll put over this one. Yeah, I would like more detailed force feedback setting. Gran Turismo Sport is quite good for wheel compatibility, and it shows you, the layout of your wheel on the screen, and you can map your buttons. iRacing doesn't do that. iRacing just, you map numbered buttons, but on GT Sport you can see what you're mapping, which is quite cool. So hopefully there's some better force feedback. Force feedback on GT Sport is actually quite good. Much preferred to Forza, by the way. Taylor Fraser, full campaign. I hope they bring back proper endurance races with different classes involved. Yes, Taylor, my man. I completely agree with you, and I said yes, please. I'm going to like my own comment. It's a bit of a faux pas. But yeah, completely agree. I want proper endurance races in the single player mode, and I want them in online as well. Turismo 2-way. Better AI, multi-class racing, better class system. For example, have the Group C class in the Group C class. So basically, should we split Group 1 from the Group C Beast and the LMP1 cars? Completely agree. They should not be in the same class. Basically ruins Daily Race C every time they do a Group 1 race and you have them both combined. Because the hybrids accelerate so fast, but the old cars are fast on the straights. It just leads to a lot of accidents, in my opinion. Daz Tube. An instant space penalty system like iRacing and Racing with aces. Something have instant limits and DQs drivers have reached the limit set. I completely agree that if you get too many penalty points in Gran Turismo, you should be disqualified from the race. It's pretty mad that in Gran Turismo it's impossible to be DQ'd in the race from contact penalties. I think the only way you can be DQ'd is if you're inactive or driving around with the pause menu on. So yeah, I completely agree with that one. I think there should be a instant base penalty system, and if you hit a certain limit, you get DQ'd. I think that actually works that way in Forza. Forza's a bit weird. It pretends to kind of work out what penalty you're going to get, and then when you reach like 25 seconds, it DQs you. So yes, I agree with that, DazTube. And that's what I said at the time. I don't remember saying that, but obviously I did. Travis Williams. I'd wish they announced you'd have actual race PSV2. Obviously PSR V2 has just been announced, so I'm not surprised they haven't announced anything, but I used to, actually when I started this YouTube channel on sim racing, I used to stream all my Gran Turismo Sport in VR. So I did a lot of Gran Turismo Sport in VR. I didn't have a monitor when I started playing. I only had a headset. So I can absolutely stand by playing in VR on Gran Turismo. It is an unbelievable experience. If you've got a PSVR headset at home and you've got GT Sport, please try it. It is something else. So yeah, I really hope that that's a bigger part of Gran Turismo 7, because in Gran Turismo Sport, you couldn't do that much in the native mode. You could just do like a track battle with one other car or a time trial, or look at your car in the garage. But actually what I used to do was do my races in the theatre view, which just gives you like a massive field of view and you actually get the 3D effect. And I was actually faster in VR as well. I never know how to pronounce this name. This is really bad. Chat, comment section, please let me know if I get this right. Oyoin? Oyoin M. I got that so wrong, didn't I? More daily race options, maybe 6 different races. No, I think maybe 4. But I agree with the endurance. So yes, I agree. Endurance, but I think 6 would be too much. It would dilute the play base too much. Robbie Mackay, I'd love to be able to gift cars to friends. Completely agree. GT Sport should be, Gran Turismo should be way more social in terms of gifting cars, maybe suggesting liveries to friends, stuff like that, being able to show off your cars in the garage to friends. Completely agree, completely agree. Right, where are we? I'm Jay Gott. I feel the series can't grow without having driver swaps endurance racing. I completely agree. I feel like driver swaps just would have been such a great thing for Gran Turismo 7, and the fact that it hasn't been announced yet makes me feel like it's not going to happen, but they haven't really shown a lot of the online mode, so I still have a little bit of hope, but I don't think it's going to happen, and that would have been absolutely huge. That would have been an absolute game changer, so a bit of a shame with that. Mike Bread, having the option to choose real penalty areas, as you see in FA Racing and Great Lobby to Right, yeah, choosing real penalty gates, I can agree with that. Good idea, but not an absolute game changer. Jason Medina, I'm not really interested in any of the choices, except engine sounds, but that doesn't matter much to me. I want more real modern race cars, more technical tracks like Monaco, more high-level race car career events. Fair enough. I've spammed some emojis in there, it's all kicked off in that comment. Different class endurance racing would be sweet, yeah, agree that would be a lot of fun. Engine sounds are brilliant, fair enough. Don't necessarily agree. Right, Zamir 101, more normal cars, hot hatches, roasters, sports saloons. There is no better thing when you can choose your real-life car in a game, tune it and customise it. More normal cars, hot hatches, roasters, sports saloons. I think I agree. I think GT7 being a kind of game that is a tribute to previous Gran Turismo games, and we saw that with the reveal trailer that was a homage to the previous games in the GT4 intro. I feel like it has to recapture that feeling of you have a choice of 3 rubbish cars when you start, no offense to those cars, and then you don't have enough money to buy a new car, you can only afford to upgrade them, and you really have to drive that car and understand it and understand how it handles, where it's good, where it's not so good, upgrade it, and you grow with that car and you get enough into the car. And that, by the way, will require, I think, good AI to race against. So I think GT7 is, I don't say live or die, but it's going to be very important how the AI is. So I actually really agree with that, Zamir 101. I feel like that's very important for GT7. Smoky Unique, we need a race D, which is like a 45 minutes to say 3 hour. Yeah, completely agree. Completely agree, Smoky. Daily race E. Philip G, having more F1 cars in the game would be good. Yep. Although I do like driving the Mercedes. W08 or 09 in GT Sport's a really fun car to drive. If you haven't driven it and you've got credits, definitely buy that car. It's a good experience. Andre Ribeiro, brake, clutch, and throttle feedback. Yeah, I didn't understand this comment. I remember this one. So don't understand. Tristesse, multiplayer campaign like an F1 would be amazing. Yeah, don't think that will happen. Dustin Lange, I kind of want realistic damage models. It would either make people race cleaner or make the game unplayable. Unfortunately, I don't think it will happen for Gran Turismo. It's not a priority for that franchise. And also, I kind of like the racing in Gran Turismo being rubbing as racing. Whereas in something like iRacing, you know, you take damage every time you have contact. In ACC, you lose your safety rating. So I like the fact in GT Sport you can have a bit of door banging and it's okay. iRod, either iRod or Ulrod 312, a kind of time machine generator where you race against cars using rules and tracks from past GT games like 6-car starting grids. Don't understand it, but I approve. Jim Bilzerian, I'd be happy just being able to skip the daily workout car scene. Yes, I agree. The amount of time I've had to spend sitting through that to get another Nissan GTR is just probably at least 5 years of my life. Dutch, driver swaps and bigger grids would be awesome. Dutch, completely agree with you. That's when I was making GT7 videos back in the day on this channel, I think I literally said driver swaps, longer races, dynamic weather. And I think we've only got dynamic weather, which is a bit of a disappointment. Dave Hancock, being able to mess with the setup more for daily races. Disagree, actually. I really like the fact that it's fixed. In iRacing, when the setups are open, it's not as easy to jump into. Oliver VG, a more progression-based career mode. You'll start with a low-tier car like a VW Golf, and you have to win races. Yes, completely agree. Racer 14 GLR, a lot of good points in the comments. I agree. The penalty system is a big concern. Lobby styles would be great. New versions of race reads a bit like a poem, like a haiku. Agree with most of that. Don't know about Liberated 6. It doesn't look that different, although people have told me that it should be a bit easier to work with. Helmy 2398. I want to see all the features found at GD Pro. I hope we can change settings without switching to brake balance TCS. So you want to basically use the dials on the wheel. That would be great, actually. That is a real quality. There's a lot of quality of life improvements they can make for GT7 from GT Sport that wouldn't take a lot of effort, like being able to use your rotaries on your wheel and also in the lobby to be able to just fix a car setup or choose a specific car in a category or stuff like that, or be able to restart the race if you're the race director, or be able to enter the race even if you miss quali, stuff like that. J.O. Racetrack creator Eds would be awesome. I agree. Obviously, they're in previous GT editions. That would be very, very, very cool. I'm not sure it will happen, but I would love it to happen. Zfix Emmerich. When you go to the PS or G7, there's a maximum 20% sport mode. Probably due to stability servers in the room saying 16. Okay, so just confirming that it is likely to only be 20. We will see. We will see. Colin Borsem, I don't know if it's... By the way, it says that in GT Sport, but in GT Sport, in FIA, in like the All-Stars rounds, there used to be 24 cars online. So I don't know if someone can confirm that, if it said 20 players, but it's actually 24, because maybe that offers us hope. Colin Borsem, I don't know if it's not... I don't care if it's not realistic, but 100 VW buses, yes. Although when they hit the limiter, it's not a lot of fun. Martin, I like that. A much bigger and more interesting online system, something to compete with likes of iRacing, proper bot balancing, and a dedicated competitive mode like FA, but separate. Okay, very, very detailed comment, Martin. Feel like it's a short essay already, but I agree with it. So love that. Dylan bring back all the tracks. It looks like they are going to try and bring back all of the classic tracks. Jack Brooks, proper F1 cars that you can edit liveries for. Yes, they have the stock Super Formula, but it would be nice if they had like maybe a generic F1 car with the new regulations. That would be very cool. Full VR support, I completely agree. Being able to use PSVR 2 online in Gran Turismo 7 could be a real advantage for VR players, which could be a good seller for PSVR 2. So yeah, completely agree. This video is not sponsored by PlayStation. You might be able to tell, but I've not been paid by Sony or PlayStation to say nice things about Gran Turismo 7. These are all my own independent thoughts. Dustin Lee want a proper online endurance racing. Yes, completely agree. Surprised there's not more comments about the penalty system. It is the most controversial thing about Gran Turismo Sport online, but this is the first time I think we've seen it mentioned. Elrod again coming in with another comment. I would add some actual functionality to the clutch pedal. Possibly, yeah, but I feel like that would maybe take away from the simplicity, but yeah, agree. Mad, it's going to be both. I said I don't think it's going to be like Cyberpunk because GT Sport already runs really well on PS4, so I think the PS4 version is going to be good. And in fact, when it was announced it's going to be cross-gen, I made a video saying I think this is a good thing, which was quite controversial at the time, probably still is. Huuin Kyuma. Mission races, we need those, like the 1v1 thing back in GT4. Yes, completely agree. Make the campaign mode more fun. I had Gran Turismo Portable on my PSP and then my Vita, PlayStation Vita, rest in peace. And that was the most slimline, stripped down Gran Turismo experience ever. There was no campaign mode. And it just felt so empty. So I just wanted as many weird things in the campaign as possible. Serial Beef, first off longer races, those 5-lap races. Yeah, I agree. That's why I really think there should be another daily race that's a bit longer. So anyone who wants to do endurance racing or longer races can go there. And hopefully the racing would be really clean there. I saw a comment somewhere else. I don't know if it's going to be here or somewhere else. Someone said that SR99 should be like really hard to reach. It should be like getting to 80,000 DR. And I agree with that. I think getting to SR99 should be like a real badge of honor. So, anyway, off tangent. Go Mojo Go full VR mode, completely agree. The littlest pug, it needs bigger grids if it wants to be an esports contender. I agree with that. Gonna like my own comment. Great protocol again. CP motor, see, if I'm honest, ideally a better view for wheel users. Yeah, so being able to turn off the wheel when you're driving, quite a few people have requested that. That's not something I do actually in iRacing, but ACC I keep the wheel on. I like the fact that it maps one-to-one with my real hand. But a lot of people have requested that, so hopefully that's going to be a feature. Stephen Pitcher, this fantasy where this was all possible evaporated when they announced it to be on PS4 as well. This is not going to be half the game we want it to be, or has the potential to be. It's going to be a mash of GTS and Preve titles. Unfortunately, it has been overhyped as usual, so it can only be a letdown. Stephen is massively looking forward to Gran Turismo 7. Vice Rishi, if it's in crossplay with PS4, 20 car grid is very unlikely. Completely agree on online, but I'd love it in single player if they had bigger grids on the PS5. So I would go for endurance racing. Yeah, completely agree. The team endurances were just... I saw a video from the Forza developers fairly recently, and they were saying they loved playing iRacing, they loved the team endurance races, and they really want to bring that experience to Forza. And Kaz Mucci, the head honcho at Polyphony Digital, he's racing the Nürburgring 24 hours, so he completely gets it. But I don't know why it doesn't seem to be a priority, but we haven't seen a lot yet. Maybe it's to be revealed, I don't know. Justice Price, a drag strip and a nice course to cruise on. I completely agree. I'd love a drag strip where it can be spectated. That'd be cool. Iron Mike, an ability to spectate in a FIA race. And yes, I'd love that. I'd love if the system was robust enough that in the FIA area you could spectate top split. I'd absolutely love that. Maybe limited to a certain number of spectators for stability reasons. But I'd absolutely love that. Gonna smash that love button. Brother Rudy, more racetracks, I hope. Yes, I agree. that is possibly one of the most disappointing aspects of GT7 so far, that the only new track really is Daytona, and it's not really a new track. Every track so far announced for GT7 has been in a previous Gran Turismo game. Retro Maniaco BR, more track layout, especially for short races. Yeah, agree, they could do some more at Catalunya, for example. Cal, just a decent penalty system. Yep, agree, or that's very hard to implement. Nico Bartolini, split screen, but with you and your friend and 18 AI drivers, I'm always for split screen. I just have such fond memories of playing split screen, GoldenEye, obviously, but also Nightfire, which for me was a better James Bond game, but a bit off track there. But yeah, I love split screen, so I'm all over that. Scuderino 67, nice logo there. 3 things I wish they did: allow multi-class racing, about 30-40 car grid, in-game driver swaps and pit stops. Speaking my language, Scuderino 67. Speaking my language there, completely agree. Lamigol 10. Penalty system in GT Sport is awful. People nudging you in the dirt is rife, but it goes unpunished. Yep, difficult to fix it. We'll see what they do. Silvio and Mutsa need more camera options. Something like the chase cam from Dirt 5 would be perfect. Yeah, being able to like modify how much it swings and stuff like that. Nathan, by the way, if you haven't seen, I've launched my own esports team. There's now an esports team called Kireth Esports. Nathan drives for us in iRacing, and we've got Danny Racing who drives for us in GT Sport. He's a regular on the top 10 leaderboards globally. So if you want more information about our esports team, check out our Discord. There's a link in the description below. Basically, I use some of the advertising revenue from this channel to financially support and give media exposure to up-and-coming fast drivers in sim racing. So Nathan is one of these drivers. Better physics, but yes, all options go. Completely disagree, Nathan. We chat about that. That is such a weird comment. I'm not even sure if it... I'm joking. I agree. Better physics. Danfino MR2. I want the option to fill the AI grid with cars straight out of my garage. Yes, that would be cool. And to do AI races with liveries would be very cool. Seems like an easy thing to do. Psy1199. Is it actually going to come out then? I've waited years in the past for GT delays. I think so. It's meant to come out in a few weeks. Octavarium. More cars. I miss a GT4 lineup. Yes. Always up for more cars. There are quite a few more cars to be revealed, because there's going to be over 420 cars in GT7, and I think we're awaiting to see 30 or 40 of them. But let's hope they're not just going to be more Skylines, etc., or variations. Lucas Vunenek. I love the 6-car grid in the old GTs. It's funny, back in the day that was big, doing Ridge Racer and doing GT, Sega GT. I think when Forza came out on original Xbox back in the day, it might have had a little bit more, but yeah, it's not enough now though. It's 2022. Lucian Petterson, better tyre screeching sound, as in when you start to lose grip, GT is not do. Yeah, tyre screeching is a big part of GT. By the way, top tip, you can actually turn that down in the menus. If you go in the audio menus, you can turn down tyre screeching if you want. Rido NZ, a campaign mode that gets added to frequently. Yeah, that'd be cool if they curated the campaign mode. That'd be cool. What Forza do? Forza curate the online mode quite a bit. But Forza Online, Forza Motorsport 7 Online, for me wasn't really a good experience. GT Sport is such a better online experience than Forza 7 in my opinion. NJAJ, better city tracks, places to hang out, designated areas for car shows. Completely agree. It's interesting because a lot of the zeitgeist about racing games has been about festivals and events. Forza Horizon has always been about an event. The Crew has been about these big events. Test Drive Unlimited has been about big events. And Test Drive Unlimited 3 is about a big event. So it's kind of interesting that Gran Turismo Sport hasn't incorporated like a car meet area or something like that. That'd be very, very cool. Okay, we keep going. Pineapple Pizza 2002. Basically more cars. It seems that Gran Turismo 7 is already going to have a decent amount of circuits. I disagree. I feel like I would like more circuits in GT7. That's probably because I play so much GT Sport. I've driven the tracks in there so many times. Nate Rogers. I can't wait for the IndyCar video game. Nice. PMD Intellion. The option to have B-spec as optional, starting off with a slower car. Yeah, those GT4 vibes, I agree. Craig, better AI so that I can race a competitor. Yes, I agree. The hardest difficulty of AI should be a great bridge or training zone for going online. And GT Sport, it just doesn't do that. It's not difficult enough or advanced enough. Ryan B, the one thing I want is more cars, in particular the Bugatti Chiron. I'd love if there's a Bugatti entry for FIA manufacturers, maybe the Chiron and the Veyron, Chiron in Group 3, that would be amazing. Drackle Fury teammate mode would be good. Yes, I completely agree, really wanted that. Boston Square, stronger AI for me and good career mode. Yes, I agree. Pipsa 3, rear view mirror for roof can be nice. Yes, surely they've got to add the rear view mirror for all of the camera angles. Unless it's still a PS4 limitation, in which case that would be an area where the PS5 is being kind of handicapped. Although I think they have said in the past they don't offer rear view in certain camera angles because otherwise those camera angles would be OP. So at the moment you only get it in front bumper where you can't see any of your car. It's Nate again. Who's got the Fanatec DD Pros ready for their release? If you've got a Fanatec DD Pro, you are arriving into GT7 in style, and I respect that. I'm still on my old CS Elite. Dialed N07, single driver, no driver swap. Races longer than 20 minutes, more like FIA style. I disagree, I would like driver swaps. Niels Zumbrick, adjustable HUD settings, maybe even analog HUDs if available. Just anything to make me think I'm not playing GT Sport anymore. Don't get me wrong, I think GT Sport HUD is great, but that's just the GT Sport HUD. I agree, I think they're going to be making some changes to the MFD in the bottom right, because that hasn't appeared in all of the trailers, so I think there'll be a different MFD, maybe to account for the dynamic weather, so tyre changes and stuff like that. Shandle75, like requesting the tyres before you pit. Shandle75, larger grids with multi-class racing for endurance races in the daily races. Also, a larger group of FF cars so they can be left out. I had such great success driving the Group 4 FF cars in GT Sport. I think all of my FIA wins are in FF cars, so I agree. I would love that. And I agree with the sentiment that they should be separated out from the rest of Group 4. Although we did see that the Alfa Romeo iconic touring car is going to be in Group 4, so the BOP is still going to be very weird. Yoda 68, maybe the four-wheel drive car should be separate as well. Yoda 68, Zach, I wish there hadn't been a fire ripped through. I wish there hadn't been a fire ripped through my pad yesterday, and pretty much mean there's no chance to play the game. Sorry to hear that, Yoda. I'll follow up with you. Sorry about that. Really sorry to hear that. Urban Shadow, I want a good selection of crappy cars. I'm bored of Lamborghinis, Ferrari, Porsche, etc. They're in every game in abundance, and I'm so sick of driving the same old cars. Give me a Skoda Fabia, give me a Kia Sportage, give me a good selection of Hondas like the i30N, the Kona Ironman Edition, Santa Cruz. Also, I would like to see weekly events online, like a Clubman Cup tournament, where all players play. This a long comment. I agree with you, my man. I completely agree. Fruit Loops, open world maps, please. Yes, I've made a video on that. Have you seen my open world video on Gran Turismo 7? If you haven't, check it out. I'll put a link in the description or a card somewhere up here. Well, I'll put it at the end of the video so you can see kind of what I would like in open world Gran Turismo and why I think it would be such a good idea. Dustin Lee, I don't get the outcry for more than 20 cars unless it's endurance race in Le Mans. Who wants more traffic? I don't get how you can have a 2-lap race at the Nürburgring. It's just, the Nürburgring is not made for 2-lap races. So, anyway. Yuck Fu, good job didn't get that one wrong. None of these, a free roam option and extremely realistic car physics and damage models. Could care less about sharp visuals and exhaust sounds. We need a good realistic car sim for console players like Assetto Corsa. Yeah, although I think Assetto Corsa is on PlayStation and Xbox. Tag of the tag, proper damage model on it, like AC maybe. Yeah, but I don't think we'll get that. I think there just needs to be a kind of more consistent pen system. I'm generally for a stricter pen system, which de-incentivizes making contact, and I think we all drive a little bit more respectfully. Daniel Hall, better physics would be great. Yeah, completely agree. GT Sport is quite an understeery simulator in my view. You never really get oversteer mid-corner, you only get it on acceleration. Lamagol 10, improved pen system that punishes perpetrator instead of the victim. I agree, although it's very difficult to code that. So for example, what iRacing say in their manual, because I've read the manual in iRacing, don't ask me why, they say they deliberately don't try and apportion blame in an instant. They just give instant points to everyone. Because it would be impossible to develop an AI to accurately portion the blame. Jerkoffery. Should be damaged in daily races would be the best penalty system. Crash harder at the race. Yeah, maybe. Maybe there should be a daily race that has damage. Maybe. Darryl Morrison, the penalty system that's possible to identify overly aggressive drivers and help out drivers that are victims in this. I agree, but I think it's difficult. Maybe there could be stewarding in FIA, and you could rate your steward after every race. That would be really cool, and the steward can issue penalties and whatnot, and you would know that, oh yeah, we got a good steward for this race. And you could have people that want to become stewards. That'd be very cool. Baz Party, I'd like a time condenser so that it would be 2 days rather than 2 months. I completely agree with you. Vegas Suyo Laxono. I want to see some gameplay GSM with PS4 version first. I do think they should show some PS4 gameplay. I think it's going to look great. I mean, if you did a trailer for GT Sport now, it would look great. So, but I do think they should probably show it. Lee Clure finally got a PS5. Very nice. Be racing you soon. Tudoro Kenyan. NASCAR cars distant era. I really hope there's going to be NASCARs in GT7. I've speculated with some of the imagery in the trailers there may be, but nothing is confirmed. Local Wi-Fi voice chat would be fun. Yes, I really want to have proximity chat. So when you're close to someone, you can speak to them. I'd love that. I'd love if you could speak as you're overtaking someone on prox chat, and then you just if they speak back to you, they just fade out as you overtake them. That'd be really cool. Although the voice chat in Forza's a little bit much sometimes. Calder, more camera options. We need a top-down view. Sarcastic S. Still agree with you. That'd be fun. Especially for taking photos. In GC Sport, you can't really take the debug camera that high to take photos. Banji's racing more road cars. I agree with you. Wow, there are a lot of comments on here. FIFO. Grids bigger than 20 cars. Definitely won't be a thing. We will see. We will see, FIFO. There is a single-player race in GT Sport where you do race against, I think, 32 cars. So it can be done. Andrea San Fratello. More camera options and new GTE cars. Yes. I want the GTE cars because if you don't know, in the endurance world, GTEs were the kind of GT endurance cars in both IMSA and the World Endurance Series, and then IMSA dropped them for GT3 and World Endurance have kept them for 2 years. They're so much fun to drive in iRacing, no ABS. I would love a no ABS daily race in GT Sport before it goes out of service as well. Corruption PS in-game ray tracing. Yeah, if they could do that at 60 FPS, that would be great. It looks like for broadcast mode, the replays are limiting it to 30 FPS, but that's fine because it's a replay. I wouldn't want to race in 30 FPS. Elite Velade, legit pen system, I agree. Need a drifts, also a drift track too. Yes, they need to have some proper drift tracks if they're going to have a drift mode. There's a drift mode in GT Sport. I know Needed Drifts does a lot of drifting because I've actually seen him drift, but it's not really that easily facilitated in GT Sport. Dodge 6T4 in the UK, full VR racing. Yes, I completely agree. A-Hit Racing, how it plays on PS4. Yes, they should show that. Fat Furby, make it full VR for the PSVR 2. Yes, they should if possible. Monkfish, proper destruction of vehicles. I don't think they'll do that, and I wouldn't actually enjoy that for GT7. Can I ask for all the features? Yes, Martin, you can. Car wash and oil changes. I'm not fussed about it, but people like it. Back in the day, having to change your oil in your car. Justin F, more actual newer cars, e.g. Jesco, Project 1, Valkyrie, T50. Yes, the Gordon Murray T50. Yes, everything, I agree. Kaya, virtual mirror on all camera views. Yes, I agree. UK Alpha Dog. What about some new gameplay? I'm not going to pay $69.99 stand on a game that has hardly shown anything. GT should have been a PS5 launch title, and it sure needs to set a high bar. But I feel it will not deliver. Forza needs to be blown away. And Grid is the same old crap. Only other game I'm interested in is Tesla Unlimited, but even that's been quiet. Sorry to that, Alpha Dog. Focus Pocus, Horizon 5 is the best racing game in the world. Turismo isn't even, though. It's literally life-like racing. It's not the best racing game in history, but Forza is the best game. Laughing my arse off. Agree with the passion and enthusiasm comment there. Sandro Inokienko, yes. Or actually, no, I actually don't like the force feedback in ACC. I don't get on with the force feedback in ATC, so much further force feedback in iRacing. Jason B-Spec and Circuit Track Racer can definitely get behind Circuit Track Racer. Trife, just a little open world. Yes, I completely agree with that. Nuno Nitro, yeah, that'd be great on Special Stage Route X. Super Taste on normal cars like minivans, yes. Michael Bargo, buy something else in new GT games. You going straight for GT8. Field of View slider, yes, that would be good fun, but again, it makes it GT7 less accessible. James Everett, why is New Assistant not on here? James has been streaming and has had some classic penalty moments, so yeah, I probably should put on James about that. Zach Craigle, GT7 and the Fanatec DD. Nice, Zach. Don't fully understand what that's about, but yes, I agree that's going to be a great combo. Piotrek F full VR support, I completely agree. Piotr. Iona Reedens, better penalty system. Yes, I agree, but it's hard to do. John O'Toole, less people crying. Okay. Stephen Waite, very random list. I asked Stephen to provide us his list. So his list is Seattle Circuit, that classic. Pit stop saves and endurance. That's a very good idea, actually. That's a very good idea. Being able to save in a pit stop endurance and come back to it. I like that, Stephen. I'm glad I probed you there. Touring cars, Pride cars, championship. Yes, I agree. Smash some lights in there. Iona Reedens, better AI. Yes, I agree. Mr. Q5U5, all of the above. Okay, wow, these comments literally... Oh no, we're at the end, chat. We're at the end. It's Hoggy VR Online. Terrican, option to choose grid start. Yes, okay. And Pedro Sousa wants all of them. So there we go. I've gone through all of the feedback. That includes 1,800 votes and 174 comments. And those are my views on the best features that could be announced for GT7. Do you agree or disagree? Let me know in the comments of this video. And we'll do it all over again. We'll just do it in perpetuity until GT7 comes out. But if you have enjoyed this, do make sure to subscribe to the channel. There is so much racing content. I'm doing a lot of iRacing, GT Sport, Forza as well. And by the way, all my live streams, and I live stream all the time, they get archived. So you don't see them. They don't come to you if you're not subscribed. You have to go to my channel, go to the playlist. So do make sure to subscribe if you want to. And I really hope you enjoyed this video. And I hope you're hyped for GT7. It's going to be a great moment. 2022 is going to be great sim racing. But I hope you enjoyed this video. And I'll see you next time.